What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. This is something I've wanted to do for ages, but it's taken me so long to research this and kind of like put it all together. This is really like elo by elo what the differences are and how you actually climb out. So you can start in silver, you get to gold, you come back to this video and see what you have to do to get to plat. This will be relevant every season. Now, I spent a lot of time on this, so if you enjoy it and it helps, leave it a like to show your support. Dislike it if you don't though, and let me know what you think of this in the comments or anything you think you could add to a tier that I didn't include. So let's start with bronze, and about 25% of players are in bronze, and a lot of them are going to tilt, they're going to kind of mess around, troll, but mostly they're actually going to rage. In general, bronze players are very angry little people. Like, I kind of imagine them to be a lot like an FPS Doug, if you remember that throwback. They're not too sure about champion strengths or weaknesses or what they're good at, what they should avoid either, so they might know how to play a champion, but not really sure exactly what they have to do to win with them. If we use Ari, for example, a very popular champion, like they might know that they can use their Q for wave clear, or they can use their E to set up kind of a kill, but they might not be like actively looking to ultimate forward to use their charm and set up a kill. They don't really recognize situations where they can kill people. There are kind of two types of players in bronze. So ones that know they aren't very good at the game, or the ones that are in kind of denial and know it's my team's fault that I'm here, not mine. The ones in denial are going to be the ones who stay there for the longest, but the ones who accept it, kind of move on from it, will climb, and they're going to fix the reasons that they are in bronze. Also, they do very dumb stuff without really realizing it, so they don't fix it. Like, they just do it, but they don't really know why they are doing it, and that's really important. If you don't know the why, then you obviously can't really fix things. General gameplay for bronze, the early game means way more than anything else. You get ahead and the enemy team is often going to rage, they're going to tilt, or they're just not really going to know how to deal with it. The game becomes much easier. This is kind of because the game is often like who is stronger and who can win the most fights. It's basically frag hunting. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of a term where like you're looking for kills, you're not looking for anything else, you just want to kill stuff. The mechanics aren't amazing either, neither is game knowledge, or maybe just one of those is actually going to be lacking. So like mechanics are okay, but the knowledge is like nowhere to be found, or knowledge is really good but mechanics aren't great. Your CSing skills or trades are just more like fights. Actually, like masteries and runes are often wrong as well, and not really seen as important. The things you really need to fix to move up to silver though is you need to nail down a good champion pool, so things you enjoy and they kind of become comfort or habit, which makes the game a lot easier. You pick early game stuff, so it's kind of the idea of win lane, win game. Picking late game stuff is a risk because people will give up and they don't understand you have a good late game, or they just actually don't care and they give up anyway. Winning lane doesn't have to be 10 kills either, by the way. Farm like a god and you will get so much more gold than everybody else. But the other thing is looking at runes, masteries, builds, or tweet me and ask me. Like, I don't mind. Get them sorted before a game even starts. One of the biggest things is don't open your mouth, don't like excuse bad plays, don't feed the trolls, and don't look at your team. Everybody in bronze is probably a little bit unlucky and bad at the game. Nothing to be ashamed of. The only way you're going to get out of it is with a little bit of luck and you fixing your mistakes, not looking at your teammates' fails. An example I use all the time is I used to play a ton of Counter-Strike like years ago. Recently, I got back into it. I was bad, like hands up, missing so many shots, but I was like, okay, I'm really bad now. I'm crap now. How do I fix that? So I spent hours in deathmatch trying to improve my aim. So that is basically bronze. Let's move on to silver. This is where you can say you're average at the game. Like about 40% of players are between silver 5 and silver 1. There's less rage, I think, in this elo bracket, but it's more about tilt now, I'd say. People are more likely to just feed like a man than cuss you out and tell you they're going to bend your mother over a table tonight, so at least that's something. At least she gets a little break. Feeding is probably the thing you have to overcome the most, though. This will come down to like lack of matchup knowledge, tilt, greed for CS, back timing, pushing with no vision. Basically, every reason you could die is going to happen in silver. With the general gameplay, your lane means a decent amount still because mid to late game is a mess. Nobody has a real idea of what to do or how to extend their lead properly. They're going to push and stuff still, that's really obvious, but like the game is easiest when you are earning more gold per minute than the enemy team. It sounds obvious like that, but like how you really push your lead when you're ahead is to do things that give you, say, 2,000 gold in the last 10 minutes and them only 1,000 gold. The CS and mechanics are better now as well. Like everyone should be on a similar level with this. No more like 50 CS at 20 minutes or anything that bad. The game isn't a slugfest either. Like it still revolves around champion power though, rather than objectives, and items, runes, masteries are still going to need some work. To get to gold, you really need to focus firstly on your champion pool because it's getting more important now. You can still win with anything at this level, but it's going to hurt you at gold plus really. You're going to want to start to trade as well as CS in the lane phase too. So like trading is short bursts, by the way, not just going Rambo full on fights in the lane phase. Also, don't overstay for things. So learn to take like small leads that add up rather than huge big plays. So you get a kill, like what can I take next, right? Take a tower, fight, like Baron, Dragon. Like you need to get something after the first initial gold. You also want to be playing champions that can carry. So damage or tanky with damage. You need to compensate for people who are feeding. It's going to happen. You just have to play around it. So let's move on to gold. And actually now you should consider yourself good at the game. Like you're in roughly the top 25 to 30% of players. That is good. Give yourself some credit. It's funny because I think this is probably the most humble elo bracket I've ever played in or seen or spectated. Players tend to think they actually aren't very good at the game, and so they're like trying to improve and improve their attitude. This obviously isn't all players, but a lot are going to be too humble actually. So you have like little confidence in what they are doing, and confidence is really important. Without it, like you're going to hesitate. You won't make the play because they doubt themselves. This is something that's quite hard to fix, but if you're in gold, you have to understand you're actually pretty good at the game now, so have some faith in yourself, and what you think you'll want to do is probably going to be the right play. You're going to have a lot of hard games in gold though, where people are still learning. Sometimes you cannot win. Luck, I guess, is going to come into this a bit more than other elo brackets where it gets like harder to 1v5. I will say with the general gameplay though, like it tends to be a bit slow, so they know the general idea of what to do, but it's kind of easier not to bother and just to chill out and to CS and stuff. It sounds really dumb, but players are actually going to take the easy option out. They're kind of lazy. CS mechanics are actually good at this level in my opinion. It's more the knowledge side of things is lacking more than the actual ability to do stuff. You're still going to see a bunch of masteries and item fails as well, even at this level, like Death by Touch on Caitlyn. Sure, you can do it. Doesn't really work in my opinion, but you can do it. Like further, it's just going to be much better. So trying to like pick the optimal stuff now. People in gold are going to be pushing their limits quite a lot. They're still learning. They're still testing like what they can do with the champion and how much damage they have. But this is where punishing mistakes comes in. So if someone is trying to push their limits, you can actually punish them for it. Having a plan though is way more effective than normal, so people who hesitate tend to not do as much, I guess. These others though are very deliberate and control the game with what they want to do. So the things you need to fix to move up, you need to nail down a good champion pool, things you enjoy and become comfort or habit basically. The core needs to be solid if you're going to move up, so it's going to be the CS, trading, items. This stuff needs to be at a solid level to play in Plat. You also want to have no more risks or throws mid game, so dying late now gets punished way more, and this ties into the next one. You don't want to surrender and always play as if you have a chance. People do throw, they like try and take dumb risks. They're going to try and like make the 1v5 outplay and stuff, but once you take that, you can actually take other things, objectives, and you can come back into the game quite easily. The lane phase is still going to mean quite a lot. You win lane and it's easier for your team to play when ahead, but it's building on the silver stuff. So you take stuff after fights, but don't overstay. People are going to start to counter Baron if you stay too long, or they're going to like counter kills. They're going to punish you if you stay. Also, get used to using pings to communicate for literally everything. You can type here, but pings are going to be better in future. So let's move on to Plat, and that is the first thing, okay? With Plat players, they are a bunch of keyboard warriors. This is why you use pings to talk. Using words will normally make them angry. It sounds very dumb, but everybody in Plat is like a secret challenger, right? Their egos are massive, as big as like PewDiePie's bank account. I have no idea. It's huge, okay? And they're also all chat kings and queens. They will flame you, and they will talk all the time in all chat just to try and tilt you and get a lead that way. Like, a lot of this is actually mindset, and seriously, they want to taunt and gloat at how good they are. This isn't everybody. Some Plat players are fine, but a lot actually you'll find is going to be like more of the it's my team that's the problem, not me, which is actually a very bad attitude to have. They are so desperate to get to diamond as soon as possible. Plat is kind of seen as like this stepping stone. Like gold is a good achievement to get, Plat is kind of bad, then a diamond is like the goal, right? So Plat is like, you want to rush through it as soon as possible. The problem with that is that people are going to get frustrated, they're going to rage, the ego gets in the way when they start to lose, and actually often this attitude gets in the way of them being carried. It's why I hate playing in Plat. They're going to make small errors and they're going to ignore them because they think it doesn't really matter, but actually all of these really add up. And in my opinion, you're probably going to spend the longest time of any bracket in Plat where you're trying to climb for the first time. That's completely normal. It is also the land of one tricks trying to get to diamond, so this is actually a good and bad thing. It's good because these guys should try hard when they're on their champions. It's bad when they're probably going to give up when they don't get their champion or their role. General gameplay wise now, like in Plat, mechanics are actually getting very good. They're becoming very good players now. Their runes, masteries and builds and stuff should all be sorted. Compositions and like what champions you actually pick are going to matter way more now, because teams can like hold on, I guess. If you pick full AD, you're probably going to lose because the enemy team will deliberately pick some tanks. It's all about calculated aggression as well. So it's measured aggression, I guess is another word for it. Like you're not just going balls deep because you can. You're actually thinking, okay, if I do this, it's going to bring this outcome. Like you're actually thinking about what you do now. Shot calling does win games, and at Plat, people are actually going to listen. They're probably going to know the right play, but they just won't call it themselves. The lane actually matters a lot less at this level. You also have to have some kind of awareness of the general game and how it works. Like all of your choices and stuff that you're actually going to do in the game have reasons behind them. If you don't have a reason for doing something, then you shouldn't really be doing it. So funnily enough, even though lane phase doesn't matter as much now, roaming does mean more. You get your teammates ahead, and usually they're going to be able to start to carry now with the lead at this level. So the things you need to move up to diamond, so turn yourself from a plat player to a diamond player, is first, like, you need to trade properly, aka don't be a little bitch in lane. This is important because in diamond you're going to be pressured quite hard, so you need to get used to it, and plat players don't really react to this very well. They kind of like run away instead of fighting you. The second thing is stop being a little bitch in general and swallow your pride, okay? Not everyone here, but so many people have a massive ego, and it does get in the way. Plus, you're going to make absolutely no friends. Deaths are going to cost a lot more, so you need to be less greedy in lane or in general. If you're dying like 3 to 4 times a game, I think that's okay. Any more in general, you really need to work on it. You really need to keep playing what you're good at as well. Like most people get to Plat by playing one role or 1 or 2 champions, then they play random stuff because they think they're amazing now. Like they're Plat, oh my god, but actually that's not how it works. Yes, you're Plat, yes, you are good at the game, and you are in like the top 10% of players or something, but that doesn't mean you're good at every single champion. It means you're good at what got you here. Back timings are actually going to be very important in the lane phase as well, because people will start to punish you, so you'll lose experience in gold if you base at the wrong time, and also wave control, so pushing, freezing to get leads. Finally, mid-game decisions like early towers, grouping, objectives, and pinks. That needs to be worked on massively because it is the difference between higher plat and like low diamond. Now finally, if we get to Diamond, Diamond 5 is a whole different beast to Diamond in my opinion. Like it's full of new Diamond players, one-trick players, like they only played X-Champion to Diamond, boosted players, sadly it's actually true, and players who don't care, plus players trying to actually climb. There is one group of players here who are trying to climb in my opinion. Yes, it's probably a big group, but actually you're heavily outnumbered with all of these other people sadly. Being a one-trick gets you a lot of stick in Diamond I think, but actually it's a good thing because you're good at one champion and you can compete. This is the best way to climb the ladder, but then they get bored and they play new stuff, and that's bad. The problem with that is they are not as good as players in general as like those around them. They just know their champion extremely well. When they swap to new stuff, they aren't at diamond level anymore. This happens a lot in Diamond 5. They lose a ton because they're not playing what got them to Diamond. So to move out of Diamond 5, you need to play your best, you need to play hard and exploit those who don't care, who will tilt, boosted, or just one-trick ponies who are playing different stuff. It's actually a very dirty fight to get out of Diamond 5. It kind of sucks, but once you're out, it gets a lot better. You just have to abuse these players who don't really care and are holding everyone else in Diamond 5 to get out of it. So Diamond 4 Plus is really where I consider proper Diamond to be. Like Diamond 5 is very good. You're in the top like 1% of players or something stupid, but Diamond 4 is really where it kicks into another level. So there are 2 types of players here. The first group have massive egos. These are the ones who have like 1,000 games plus played in Diamond and they're stuck. They're angry and they're frustrated, but they're addicted to the game and they play all day. These are going to be the ones who will try hard when winning, but they'll give up when they're losing because they know it doesn't matter, I'm just going to play again afterwards anyway. The second group are the people who are trying to improve. So they're quite humble, they admit their mistakes, and they try hard no matter what because they want to climb and they want to get to Diamond 1 or Master. There is also a massive mix of the entire Diamond bracket in these games now. People regularly tilt from like Diamond 1 to Diamond 4 to Diamond 5. Like there can be massive big skill gaps in games and you just have to kind of accept how that is, but it is good practice. With the general gameplay, mechanics now are very, very good. General game knowledge is good too, probably the highest been so far, but it's still got a lot to learn. This is where specific knowledge comes in, so like matchups, exactly how to play fights or push leads and stuff. Like you'll do well in the moment of a fight, but not at creating the situation in the first place. That's often where like late game throws happen actually. The things you need to do to move from like Diamond 4 to Diamond 1 or even to Master tier, like is a massive gap, and I can't just sum it up in like a minute of this video, but just because you're Diamond basically, it doesn't mean that you have nothing to learn. That is the number one thing I can ever tell you guys. You always have stuff to learn in Diamond. You'll play games and games and games. Sometimes you don't feel like you're improving and then suddenly something will click and you'll play massively better. You need to punish mistakes a lot harder though, even small things. As soon as someone is out of position, you don't hesitate, you just punish straight away. You don't give them time to correct their mistake. It's also about forcing mistakes, right? So you pressure and you give them more to worry about, especially in the lane phase. Like they have to worry about getting CS, your auto attacks, dodging your skill shots, and jungle pressure. That's much harder to manage than just CS, for example. You also need to have a game example, what items you're going to go in the general build, I guess, like what you want to do at different stages when you want to be fighting. As a support example, because I don't really use support very often, you can get early Mobies and roam mid a ton, right? You can buy Banner of Command and set up a split push as well. That's a clear game plan of how you personally are going to help secure the win, and that is important for any role. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I put so much effort into this video and I really hope it actually helped you guys. But if you did, please like and share it. I hope you guys have a great weekend and I'll catch you in tomorrow's video.